Sunrise never happened. My phone said 7:12. The window was still the same dull gray it was at 5. No pink, no gold. The whole street felt stuck. The birds didn't sing. It took me a second to realize it, and once I did, it felt like a missing tooth. My apartment faced east. It should have been light. I got up, went to the kitchen, made coffee out of habit. The machine gurgled in the quiet. The clock on the stove said 7:13. My phone said 7:12 again. I tapped it. The minute didn't change. Little circles dragged on the lock screen like the phone was lagging. I pulled the blind up an inch. The sky was wrong. It was a low, dark blue, flatter than it should be, and off on the horizon there was a faint glow, but not where the sun comes up. It was more north, and it looked dead. Not bright. Just a line, like someone cracked the edge of the world. I went outside in a hoodie and socks. The air felt damp and old. No traffic, no school buses. Our street is usually busy by then. Mr. Ramirez across the way stood in his driveway in pajama pants and a coat. He was looking past the houses. He didn't wave. He didn't look at me at all. He said, not to anyone in particular, I saw it move. "What? What?" I said. He didn't answer. He didn't blink. He held his car keys too tight. The faint glow along the horizon pulsed once. Not brighter, exactly, just closer. My own shadow on the concrete shifted and pointed toward it. I knew that wasn't right. With light, your shadow goes away from it. Mine crawled toward it, long and skinny, like it was being pulled. A dull thud came from the maple 2 doors down. A bird dropped out of it. It hit the grass and didn't flap. Another one fell, then another. They weren't shot. They just hit the ground like they forgot how to be birds. I looked down at my phone. It was 7:12 again. I went back in with my jaw tight. I turned the TV on. The local news had a banner. Unusual sky conditions. The woman talking had a steady voice and some makeup wrong at the eye. The feed stuttered and jumped. The footage behind her was a still photo of the skyline. No sun. The ticker said, "Motorists advised to stay home." The audio glitched, a little robot in it. Then the reporter's smile slid and she looked down. "We are asking people to stay indoors," she said. Then the screen pixelated and for a second, I swear I saw her own studio window behind her and the same dead blue, but the glow in that window was higher. Closer. It made her face look gray. Someone off camera said, "Don't look at it." The audio cut. I grabbed my keys. Then I put them back. Then I grabbed them again. My daughter was at her mom's across town. Alicia had texted me at 4 in the morning a photo of the science fair poster Ella made. I didn't answer. We're not together. I work nights sometimes. I mess up. I don't like driving to Alicia's place early. We fight. But I didn't want Ella to be scared. I called. It rang. It clicked and hissed like a modem. It didn't connect. I texted. Not delivered. Outside, someone down the block yelled. I stepped out again. The glow pulsed. My mailbox threw a shadow toward it. "Mr." Ramirez still stared. He shook a little. He lifted his chin, just a fraction, like he was hearing a far voice. He took one step toward the street and then he froze. He froze like a statue, both feet on the crack in the sidewalk, fingers opened. Then, slowly, the way a door closes when it's almost shut, his head turned. It turned wrong. It turned past where it should stop. He faced my house. His eyes were too wide. We looked at each other. He didn't blink. I think he tried to talk. His mouth moved one word. It might have been my name. I backed inside and shut the door. I called again. This time, Alicia answered and said, "We're fine. The power." And then there was a noise that wasn't the line. It was like the phone itself breathed in. Then it said, in a voice that wasn't mine or hers, "Mark." It was flat. It said my name like a test. Then it clicked and went dead. I tried the compass app on my phone. The circle spun. It didn't settle. It just rotated and sped up until the numbers were a blur. I turned the TV back on. The news was now a phone camera pointed at a window. The comments under it moved fast. The caption said, "Live." People typed, "What is it?" "Stay inside." "Don't look." And one person wrote, "Mark, stop." It freaked me out. There are a lot of marks. On the screen, I saw the same glow, but in that feed it rose. It rose like a balloon sliding up behind the roofline. The person filming whispered, "Oh God," and then the sound cut and the phone beeped like an alarm. The picture blew out white for a second, then came back dim, and whoever held the phone had it pointed down at their carpet. Their shadow crawled out of the frame toward the light. I went room to room. I pulled down the blinds. I shoved pillows in the gaps. I dragged the mattress off my bed and propped it against the living room window. I turned off the TV and the lamp and the heater. I went to the breaker box in the hall and flipped everything off. The freezer died. The fridge quieted. The house sounded hollow. My phone buzzed with an alert. Usually it says amber or weather. This one had no tone. The screen lit on its own. The header said, "Emergency." The body said, "Mark, do not look." Another one came right after. "Mark, go to the lowest room." Another, "It remembers." I said out loud, "What is this?" Nothing answered. The glow at the edge of the blinds didn't brighten. It breathed. That's the only way I can say it. I could feel it push in and out on my face when I got close to the window, like heat. The time on the stove, even with the breaker off, still showed 7:12. That didn't make sense. I opened the battery cover on the wall clock in the hallway. There weren't any batteries. The hand stood at almost 6.5. Dawn, but not quite. The neighbor's porch light kicked on. It stayed on even when everything else felt dead. Then it went off. The glow outside didn't care. It fed around it. I got my old tool bag. I put it by the door. I put on my boots. I told myself I'd drive to Alicia's. I'd get Ella. We'd hunker down. I got in my car. I didn't turn on the radio. I pulled out, went to the end of my street, turned right, then left. The horizon stayed the same. The glow stayed in place in my windshield, slightly left. I drove 10 minutes. My GPS glitched and drew a scribble. It said recalculating and then it said my address. I passed a grocery store with the lights off and a lot of cars parked crooked. A man stood by the carts and stared north, his mouth open. He didn't move. I took another left. A brown dog lay in the road and didn't get up when I rolled past. Birds kept falling. One hit my windshield and slid up and over. I wiped it with the wipers and smeared gray. I pressed the gas. The compass on the dash that never moved spun. I turned a corner and saw my own house. Same dented mailbox. Same trash bin I forgot to pull in. I braked hard. My seatbelt grabbed. My brain didn't catch up. I sat there looking at my own fence like I had teleported. The glow deepened like it liked that. I parked in the driveway shaking. I went to my porch. The emergency alert buzzed again. It said, "Mark, stay inside." Another said, "Don't let it see you see." Then a different one. "It rises when you attend." I didn't know what that meant. I locked the door. I dragged the dresser in front of it. I stacked chairs. I filled a pot with water at the sink before I remembered the power had been cut, but the tap still ran. I filled a bowl for the cat, one don't have anymore. I stared at that and felt stupid. I sat on the floor and put my head in my hands. I thought about my dad. He used to get up before dawn to drive the trash truck. He'd wake me on Saturdays to go with. He'd hand me a donut and say, "Up before the sun, buddy." The world is honest like this. He died 5 years ago in a hospital with a beeping that never lined up. I thought about how I told Alicia I couldn't do mornings. I thought about how many mornings Ella waited and got her backpack by herself. The glow was under my eyelids now. I sat in the kitchen with the lights off and my eyes squeezed shut, and it was still there. A flat pressure. A line. It got in through my phone when it was face down. The black screen leaked gray. It got in through the microwave door. It got in under the door trim. It got in. I went to the basement. It smelled like dust and paint. I don't go down there much. I pulled the chain on the single bulb and then pulled it again to turn it off. I pushed boxes in front of the little hatch that leads to the crawl space. I sat on the bottom stair. The emergency alert pinged again, with no sound, just haptic. It said, "Mark, keep your eyes down." It said, "Do not call it out loud." It said, "Tell them not to look." I considered the obvious. It got stronger every time I noticed it. It pulsed when I stepped outside. It rose in the live video when the person aimed the phone at it. The people who stared froze. Their heads turned. Mr. Ramirez whispered my name. The birds looked like they forgot how to exist and dropped once they noticed. I could feel it in my face when I tried to see around the blind. I went back up to get tape for the basement window. As I reached the top, a strip of shadow slid across my kitchen floor. It was small, like from the chair leg, but it moved by itself, slow and steady, toward the back door. It wasn't connected to anything. It was darker than it should be. Another one detached from the side of the fridge and stretched under the door crack. I stood still. The glow in the window brightened. The shadow thin lines kept going to it, like iron to a magnet, but I didn't think that word. I just knew it wanted over there. I let it do what it wanted and didn't stare at it, and it slowed. When I looked straight at it, it sped up. I stopped looking. It slowed again. That's when I knew. I called Alicia one more time. It went to voicemail. I left one. "Hey, it's me. This is gonna sound dumb. Don't look out. Keep Ella away from the windows. Turn off your TV. If she asks why it's dark still, just tell her it's fine. Tell her I'll come over once this clears. I'm sorry I wasn't there more. I know I promised. I know I always say I'll try. I will. I'm trying. Don't look." Then Ella called me from her tablet. Her name popped on my screen with a heart. I answered. Her face filled it. She was under a blanket. Her eyes were too big. The blue glow reflected in them, even though she was in the dark. There was a line of light at the edge of her quilt. "Dad?" she said. "I'm here," I said. My voice broke. "Mom's in the bathroom," she said. She threw up. "Okay," I said. "Okay, baby. Keep your blanket over your head, okay? Don't peek." Without me asking, she said. I looked. It was flat. My mouth went dry. "Just a little," she said. "It was like the morning, but it's not nice. It saw me. Now it's inside my eyes. When I close them, it pushes. I can hear the birds hit the house. They sound like getting dropped socks." "Okay," I said. "Listen to me. Put the blanket over your face. Just breathe. Listen to my voice. Dad? She said. It's moving. What is moving? The line. It's going up. I wanted to drive. I wanted to walk. The roads were a loop. The compass didn't know where north was. The glow rose when I paid attention. It rose when anyone did. The alerts told me not to say its name, not to call it. It rises when you attend, it said. It wanted eyes on it. Of course it did. It wasn't the sun. It needed us to pull it up. Alicia! I yelled into the phone. Don't look! The sound from the bathroom was running water, and then nothing. In the tablet camera, Ella's eyes flicked to her bedroom doorway. She stilled. Her mouth hung open a fraction like Mr. Ramirez's. Her head started to turn slow. Too slow. I caught it early, but it still happened. Ella, I said, stay with me. Dad, she said. The blanket slipped. The glow hit the edge of the frame. My phone got warmer in my hand. The emergency alert pinged. It said, Mark. Another, choose. I'm here, I said. Listen, I love you. Okay? I love you. I'm sorry I make you wait. I'm sorry I get mad when I'm tired. I'm sorry I missed the science fair last year. I saw your poster. You did so good. You are brave. You are more brave than me. But you need to not look. You need to close your eyes and keep them closed. You need to sing your ABCs. Do it slow. Don't open your eyes for any reason, even if it asks. What if it comes in? She whispered. Behind her eyelids, you could see light. It bled through, thin and sharp. Her room was sealed. It didn't matter. It got through everything. It's going to come to me, I said. I knew that. It rose when attention fed it. Maybe if I gave it mine, it would tilt. Maybe it would lean on where the signal was strongest. It found my name. It spoke it in my phone. It came a little closer when I stepped outside. It liked me. Or I was easy. I'd been looking since I woke up. How? She said. I'm going to get up and go to the door, I said. And I'm going to open it, and I'm going to look, and I'm going to think about it. I'm going to let it have me. And while I do that, you keep your eyes closed. Do you understand? She cried a little. No. I know, I said. But that's the job. That's what dads do. They hold the bad while you run. You don't have to run. You only have to not look. Can you do that? She nodded. The blanket went over her head. The glow darkened in the frame but didn't go away. I could still see it around the edge of the fabric. It was in the pixels. The tablet tried to adjust and failed. The time at the top said 7:12. I'm going to count, okay? I said. You sing. Don't stop. Don't listen for anything else. She started. A, B, C. I picked up the phone and put it on speaker and set it on the table. I left it there. I wanted her voice in the room. I wanted the sound of something normal. It came thin, but it was there. I moved the dresser. The chair. The second chair. The front door had 3 locks. I opened the first. Metal on metal in the quiet. The second. The chain. The wood swelled. The third was stiff. My hands shook. I put my forehead on the door for a second and breathed. The glow breathed back through the seam. I thought about backing down. I thought about going to the basement and waiting this out. I'm not a good enough person to be brave all the time. I'm not one of those people on the news who runs toward the thing. I sat back on my heels and listened to Ella sing. She got stuck at J and went back to G. She fixed it. She kept going. Another alert came on the phone. It didn't buzz this time. It just lit. It said, "It is at your street." Then, Mark. Open. I turned the deadbolt. I tracked the door an inch. The air that came in was cold and dry. The glow sat down the block just above the houses, higher than the first time, but less high than the live video. It was only a line. I had to move to see it. I kept my eyes at the level of the mail slot. I could see it just at the edge. It was so light and still it made my teeth ache. From across the street, something stepped on gravel. Mr. Ramirez's shoes, maybe. I didn't look. The glow pulsed like a breath held. My own shadow reached around my feet and stretched over the threshold and out, toward the line. It lengthened and detached and slid over the porch like oil. I figured out the rule. It didn't want anyone to pretend it wasn't there. It wanted witnesses. It wanted to be lifted. Fine. I said it without saying it. In my head, I said, "I see you." I didn't move my mouth. I kept my eyes on the narrow slice where the light was. The glow swelled like someone pulling on a rope. The basement door behind me creaked. That didn't make sense. I had closed it. That's when the house settled. It sounded like it always sounds when the temperature changes, except not. The sound went through the walls. The glow filled the crack by the hinge of the front door. It got under the paint. It got in my eyes no matter where I looked. "WX," Ella said, slow. "I love you," I said to the air. My eyes watered. "I'm sorry," I said, to every morning. I opened the door wider. The light hit the rug and made a simple, bright rectangle on the floor. The outline of the door threw a shadow into it, and the shadow moved on its own, reaching to the line at the curb. It touched it and stopped, like it had found its plug. Across the street, someone made a low sound, like a long no. The glow twitched. It tilted. It came my way. I felt it land on the wood of the porch. It didn't make a footstep. It just became closer. I kept my eyes on it. I didn't blink. It rose a fraction as I watched. "Z," Ella said, small. Again, I said, "A, B." The glow gathered at my doorframe, not shining, just present. The steel in the hinges felt colder. The emergency alert buzzed one last time. It said, "It is at your door." I stood there and held it in my eyes. I didn't look away. I didn't let it go to any other face. It pressed against the gap. The wood ticked. It seeped in a line along the edge, and then made a shape that wasn't a shape. And then it pushed once, hard. I took one step back and the door moved in. I gripped the handle to keep it from opening all at once. The glow wavered like it was deciding. I said, out loud, to my empty house, to the phone on the table, to my daughter under a blanket in a different dark, "I'm here." And it came in. That's it for tonight's tale. If it kept you up, maybe leave a like to keep me company. Subscribe for more strange stories. And maybe, just maybe, click the next one before the lights go out. See you in the next one.